Hey guys, welcome back to the Bros Films channel. Today I will explain to you the true meaning behind the game Bullet Force based off what I have found. Note everything I will say could be completely wrong, but I have evidence to back up my claims. There's no campaign in this game, but there is one thing for sure, that there is a story. I will not be able to explain everything in this video, but I'll cover as much as I can. Let's start with what we know. The game involves two countries, the US and Russia, fighting in various maps. We'll be focusing on one of those maps and why the fighting occurred. That map is Outpost. Now let's find the year this game takes place. All the guns in this game are from the mid-1950s until today, meaning that the events cannot take place much before 1950 and go on until today. Now, because this game is between the US and Russia, the first thing that comes to mind is the Cold War, which is most likely what causes the fighting to occur. Therefore, the time period is narrowed down to 1947 to 1991. However, no combat actually happened during the Cold War, which leads me to believe it could be continuing on until present time. Now that we have a relative time, I started looking for a location and conflict. On the Outpost map, you will notice several shipping containers in a desert. Guys, shipping containers in a desert. That sounds really odd, so I started digging for an explanation. Knowing that the map is a US outpost, I know that the area is not in the US because it is a military zone in another country. That is why it's an outpost. I then decided to look at the Middle East where conflicts are high and both the US and Russia are picking opposite sides. Knowing that there are shipping containers, I looked for a shipping company on the Mediterranean. I found one called Mediterranean Shipping Company, and apparently they first started out shipping to Somalia. Somalia, guys. Now you might be like, G-Knight, you gotta be kidding me. Nope. I actually started looking into it, and it makes perfect sense that it takes place in Somalia. Somalia was involved in the Ogaden War between communist Somalia and Ethiopia. Somalia is invading Ethiopia. This takes place within our timeline, taking place between 1977 and 1978. Communist Somalia had the support of the USSR and Egypt, while the US backed Ethiopia. The Ethiopian Emperor Selassie is then overthrown by the Derek, and a communist government is set up. Ethiopia then convinces the USSR that they are communist so that they can have their support. The USSR does not want to back two allies to fight each other, so they set up peace negotiations. Somalia refuses, causing the Soviets to back the Ethiopians instead of Somalia. The US then decides to stop backing Ethiopia and then back Somalia. Both sides send billions of dollars worth of weapons to their allies, thus explaining the shipping containers found in the outpost. This would also explain weapon caches found everywhere. However, in the end, Somalia loses and leaves Ethiopia, which is represented on the game menu. Don't believe me? Well, I'm a bit skeptical myself actually, but who knows? I mean, why else would Russia be on the Conquest logo? On all the other pictures, the US occupies them. Strange. Anyways, you might be wondering why there are UN vehicles on the map. Well, I can explain. After Somalia loses the war, the country breaks into chaos. Not that it already wasn't in chaos, but this is the start of an ongoing Somalian civil war. The UN ends up getting involved, but later pulls out due to heavy casualties, thus explaining the abandoned UN vehicles with no UN to be found. All the clues from the Outpost map lead me to Somalia, leaving me to believe that the Outpost is in Somalia and that the Ogaden War is a part of a much larger conflict, so large that it probably involves the whole world and of course nuclear warfare. Nukes is another recurring motif in the game because everyone strives to use one. It is so important, it is even shown on the statistics for your character. The war becomes a fight between democracy and communism, in which the world picks sides. Except for Texas and North Korea, of course. But there is one thing I do know for sure, and that's China's involved. And I'll explain that later on my Zen map story, because they recently added Zen in the UMP, and I'm going to explain those. Actually, I can explain the UMP right now. The UMP is in the game because it was used by the Egyptians. Even though it's a German gun, the Egyptians used it, and the Egyptians backed the Somalians, so it only makes sense that they'd have it. So the UMP is possible in the game. All the guns were used during this time, guys, so it all makes sense, and this is what I got for you guys today. But just remember, guys, it's just a theory, a bros theory, and don't forget to comment, subscribe, and like this video. Let me guys know what you think about this theory. Is it true? Is it false? Do you guys know? Am I missing something? Anyways, let me know, guys, because I'm curious to know what you guys think about this, and maybe I'll do some Bullet Force on the channel again. I don't know. I mean, it's still a broken game in my opinion, but it can be fun at times. But yeah, guys, I'll see you next time. G-Knight from the Bros Films channel, signing off. If you guys thought this video was good, that probably means you want to see me do 1,000 push-ups because you subscribed to the channel to see that, right? I don't know. Go check it out if you want, because I didn't do it for nothing. I did 500 on stream, 500 on camera, and I'll post that later on. Hope you all did enjoy this video and that 1,000 push-ups. And I'll see you guys next time on the Bros Films channel.